Join us now on the 702 Communications line. 702 Communications, keeping you connected, is the CEO of 702 Communications, joining us with Brian Cromwell on how IT works. Today we're talking about doing business remotely better. So Brian, thanks so much for joining us. And by the way, thank you so much too for sponsoring our video chats that we have here with special guests every single day. We really, really appreciate it. Let's talk about so many people now at home working. What can business owners be doing to create like a more efficient and secure network for their people working at home?
Yeah, so I mean, there really are a couple things that at this point we've all done some work from home, but now it's really time to buckle down and start seeing some efficiencies, because this could continue for a while. And so you want to take stock of what's maybe been going well, what's maybe been going poorly. And there are a couple things that I guess I'd recommend that every business and every employee do at this point from working from home. And number one is that bandwidth assessment. Your employees need to know what type of bandwidth they've got available at home, and then be conscious of how many people they're sharing that bandwidth now. If you had been a remote worker and that had worked fine for you when it was just you at home, maybe it's not anymore now that you've got maybe a spouse working from home and maybe a couple of kids doing e-learning. And so maybe you want to have that conversation with your provider about how much bandwidth all of this takes to make sure that you've got enough to work efficiently and work effectively with that connection to the world. Number two, I guess, would be security concerns. If you've got security or an IT staff at work, they're making sure that your machines are all updated. They're making sure that your antivirus is good. They're making sure that all of that is as secure as it can be. In this environment, if you've got people maybe connecting on their own machines via VPN, we have to be just as diligent, as IT professionals, to make sure that any device that's connecting to the network, if it's like an employee's PC, is doing all its updates. Is its operating system up to date? Is it using some program that's got a vulnerability or something like that? Is it antivirus definitions up to date? Because any of those devices, if they're not secure, can cause problems back in a centralized location for you, and that's really the last thing you want when you've got staff all over. And then, communication platforms. I want to talk about, how do you get all your employees still working together? It's okay if you've got one or two people, and they're doing their own things, but when you need to collaborate and we're getting past this, let's just make sure all our fires are out, and now we're to the point that we really need to be pushing the business forward remotely. How can you collaborate? And so are you using Microsoft Teams or Google Hangouts or Slack or something like that to really collaborate and try to have a sense of normalcy again with your business? It's just those are things that if you're not using now, it's time to look into. It's time to talk to a trusted IT partner, like 702 or whomever you're using right now, and just make sure that you're using the tools that are available to you to make sure that you're doing business as well as you can be if this goes on for the long term.
Hey Brian, let's back up a second to the bandwidth conversation, because there's nothing more frustrating when you're at home trying to get work done and you got that scrolling thing going on, or it doesn't go as fast as you want. So I guess one of the questions I'm sure a business owner would have, as far as the employees as well, is so how do I really figure out how much bandwidth do I need, and then how do I work with my provider to give me the most amount of bandwidth for the least amount of money?
Sure. So, I mean, number one, it's important to know what you have. So, go back to your bill and see what you subscribed for. And you have to understand, too, that when you're looking at your bill, maybe you've got 50 meg down, but you've only got 10 meg up. So you'll see that 50-10 or 50-50 or whatever that is. And if you're pulling content from the internet, that's where the download comes in. But if like right now, you and I are having a Skype call, I'm sending you content, that means that my upload speed needs to be high enough too that we can do that without buffering. And so if I'm using 5 meg of the 10 meg that we've got in the house right now sending up, and then maybe my spouse is also sending on the same type of Skype call, suddenly you've used all your bandwidth upstream, and your kids then maybe trying to talk to their teachers aren't going to have any bandwidth left. And so that's the type of assessment that really we all need to be making at this point is what do I need? What does the household schedule look like? So maybe I should be scheduling my video call, outside of school hours, or maybe I should be scheduling, making sure that I'm coordinating with my spouse to make sure we've got enough stagger in the schedule that we're using our bandwidth effectively.
Brian, great stuff. I just have one correction, sir. It's not a Skype call. It's a 702 Communications video chat. Okay,
It is exactly that, sir. It is exactly that. Thanks for clarifying that.
Just want to have some fun here on Good Friday. Real quickly, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, we're available by phone still. My staff is here and ready to help at 284-5702. And you can always find more information and more ways to contact us just at our website at 702com.com.
All right, man. Happy Easter, and thank you so much for the time and the insight, my friend.
Happy Easter, Chris.
All right.